Welcome to the Right Balance Podcast. Bob, thank you for coming back. This is your brother, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for introducing me. Joe, welcome, and thank you for the experience we had on Saturday. How would you introduce yourself, and where can people find you? And what did we do on Saturday? And the closer to the mic, the better.
Yeah, last Saturday we went to a private gun range I belong to. I'm not sure, like you're talking about Instagram stuff or?
Yeah, your Instagram or the website of the gun range if people wanted to sign up for membership.
My Instagram's Foot Torque, but it's FTTORQ. The website for the range is westendgunclub.com.
Talk about the 3-gun too, and that you're assistant match director.
It's I'm the assistant match director for the 3-gun discipline.
I love the older brother, younger brother. Like, yo, come on, man. Yeah.
First time ever doing this, so
no, it's all good.
But I got into it. I don't even know how many years ago. At least 5, maybe 6, maybe even 7. I don't know. I've always been into firearms. My dad grew us up around guns. We've been
since
hunting,
kids,
shooting. I mean, he used to take me out. I couldn't even shoulder, a small 22. I used to have to put the buttstock under my armpit and just set up bottles and cans and all kinds of stuff. And I've been shooting since as long as I can remember.
Yeah, the initiation when we were kids, Dad would put us the shotgun out that we could barely pick up, and he'd put double-aught buck in that thing and would knock the shit out of us. So that was like, they'd sit there and laugh their asses off, and we're sitting on our ass. It's just, like I said, it's as big as I can remember, from BB guns on up.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you to start with BB guns, and then
pellet guns, 22s, shotguns, all that good stuff.
He never throw us anything that would cause any issue, but I mean, he started off small and brought us up all the way up until we're, feel comfortable around all, pretty much anything. But
that's amazing. Now, did you guys grow up in California?
Yeah, I did.
And so in California, fucking BB guns, pellet guns, rifles, because it's changed so much, and it's like, I hear very few stories about growing up with guns in California. I mean, I know people, like the dirt bike stories that I was telling you.
Yeah.
My friend's dad, he was an Olympic American winner for archery, and they had a big collection of guns, and they taught me how to ride bikes and all this stuff. But that was in the mountains of Santa Cruz County, like in LA. You guys always been Southern California, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear it a lot.
Well, I mean, not too many places to shoot around here. There's a couple ranges, but I mean, we used to just go out to the middle of the desert and just shoot.
Yeah.
Like out in Bakersfield, Buttonwillow when we were younger. Now it's a little different. They got so much stuff going on, but that's how I found that range. My stepdaughter, she went to school with one of her best friends, and we were, just BSing, and come to find out that her best friend's dad was really into guns, and we met one time and started talking about 3-gun, and he said, "Why don't you come check it out?" So, like, every time I try to get people to go and introduce them into the sport, like, they're all like, "Oh, I'll go watch." I'm like, no, just come shoot. I regretted it because I did the same thing. I said, I want to shoot, see the gear and this and that, and I thought I needed everything beforehand, but you don't, just to come out and have fun. But I went out, and I kicked myself in the ass because I was like, shit, I could have did this easily with what I had.
Time ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, the next month I had everything and started shooting, and I've been basically balls deep in it ever since. But we shoot once a month. There's all kinds of other disciplines. There's pistol, all kinds of different rifle disciplines. So, I mean, we even got the Western old 6-shooters and old school shotguns. There's a division for that. You
guys were telling me that there's the people that dress up,
full
on fucking cowboy,
full personas and everything. Yeah, it's hilarious.
And not only the way they're dressed, they're full character and
So drawn from the hip.
Oh yeah, but we I did it for quite a few years, and then one of my good buddies that I met through in the sport, he took over as the match director for 3-gun. The old guy, the old match director, was moving out of state to Arizona, and he asked me if I wanted to be his assistant, and that's how I got into it, being the assistant match director. But
now this is a very unique range. It's first off, it's private. Second, it's membership only. Third, there's a waiting list. I mean, let's talk about that range. Fourth, it's very clean and beautifully organized.
Yeah.
It seems like they have a lot of activities.
Yeah, it's a great organization. I mean, there's
where is it located?
I think it's technically considered Lytle Creek.
Lytle Creek, which is still Southern California, off the 15, right?
Sierra.
15 in Sierra.
15 in
Just
Sierra.
north of the freeway. It's basically not even 5 minutes once you get off that exit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's unique because, there's been a couple of ranges that were private, but like this one, I mean, it's deeded in the property that they can never rezone the area for housing or anything like that. So they only allow it might have went up a little bit, but I think at one point it was only like 1,300 members total. They have limited memberships and stuff like that, but a full membership's nice because like you saw, when you first drive through, there's a little pistol range, and then there's the rifle range. But then when you go into the back, there's all the bays. So you have full, it's first come, first serve. There's a calendar you can check because they do reserve bays for, certain shooting discipline, the matches and stuff. So you kind of got to figure out which bays are available, and it's whoever comes first gets it. But it's nice. I mean, you can go there 24/7 as long as there's no, there's
you were mentioning that's
yeah. I mean, you can go in the middle of the night if you want.
I'm sure people do it.
We have night shoots, like it's competition.
Yeah.
You go in at nights and you do everything with flashlights, on your guns.
You do it flashlights,
all that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, because for a second, I'll be honest, I'm like, what the fuck would you do there at night? Even if they were like to light it up, it'd be like shitty lighting. But yeah, if you go with your flashlight, it's very tactical.
They try to make it pretty tactical, like pretty realistic like that. You got to go around obstacles, and you really probably have to use your flashlights to be able to see stuff like that.
Guide
so
through,
they do have competitions at night up there too.
Test out your night sights.
Well, some of the night matches, you'll have to use weapon lights. Some of them do have lights staged for certain areas and stuff like that. So you kind of get the dynamic of having to switch your light on or off or stuff like that. But
yeah, so you guys have a big collection of guns, and this is like a passion, and you work there, but how often are you shooting?
I kind of went a little bit at first when I did a couple 3 competitions. I just got a lot going on, other things I like to do, golf, make moonshine, stuff like that. So it's not as and he'll give me crap, but when it's hot, I'm not shooting.
Yeah, weather's got to be perfect for him.
I'll be in the golf course or my pool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I'll wait till it cools down. So I'm not that hardcore in it.
Bob, how would you? I've had you on the podcast. Thank you for being back. You were just on like 3-4 episodes ago. A lot's happened since then. How would you introduce yourself? And what are you drinking?
I guess this is Bob Moonshine right here. Brother of Joe Sewell here. I guess just we did the podcast on my moonshine and stuff like that. I actually went and did a tasting on another member he did a podcast with at a Top Gun event. So it was kind of cool. First time I'd ever done that before. I actually bought a table, went out, and everybody thought I was professional. You do this for a living? I'm like, yeah, I did all the time. Actually, the first time I'd ever done it, and it was I had a blast, and they said it was a hit. Yeah. So it's kind of cool, and people ask you questions, you get to talk about it, just like I did in the podcast. So been moving around a little bit, stuff like that. And he wants to probably have me come to a couple more events because now it's.
You're talking about Kai, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Kai.
Kai, yeah. I mean, how often, like everybody says, I'm kind of used to it now because I make it, but to have somebody come and do a tasting of something you've probably never tasted or you can't get.
Yeah.
So it was kind of unique. So
it's Kai Cheng, and he's been on the podcast several times. He's a unique guy, and he likes exclusive stuff. And I think most people like exclusive things. They probably don't know it. They're so used to like the masses, but once they try it, they're like, holy fuck. I have a good friend of mine. He has one of the biggest alcohol collections in the world. He's got, it almost looks like unlimited bottles. He has multiple bars, and it's just bottles stack. I gave him a few shots. He drank this. He's like, I need that. I don't have it. I don't fucking have it.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about, that I needed some bottles. And it's a fucking kick-ass skill, man. Like, you think of a zombie apocalypse, end of the world. What are you going to trade your services for? How are you going to get ammunition? Well, you're going to make fucking moonshine and trade this for whatever the fuck you want. Like that, it's a beautiful skill. Yeah. Somebody that grows weed, fuck it, that's a skill. Like it's It's valuable.
Yeah.
It's very valuable.
I'll be that guy at the outpost that has the bar and all the guns and everything too, and stuff like that.
Like in a video game and shit, and you're like trading stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but this is my 135 proof rye. I've been aging for about 5 months. Amazing. So that's what I'm
135
proof.
Fuck.
Yeah, I get it from him, and I introduced it to my circle of friends, and they're like, "Oh, I've had moonshine before. You buy at the store," and I'm like, "You ain't getting nothing like this, man."
Nothing like this.
No.
It's so funny because I was like, I've been setting up the TV now to like have the image of the people that I'm representing and names and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there was 2 choices I ran into, and one was a big fat American dude with a beard, a jug of moonshine, and a shotgun, or the American flag with bullets and guns in the background. I was like, let me just go with,
Kawhi said that when I showed up to the tasting, I had just got off work, so I'm in slacks, dress shirt, and he's like, "You're not what I expected."
Yeah, you're boring.
I was expecting this guy to show up looking like a redneck or something. You know what I mean? Just total from the Moonshiners. He was tripping out. He was like, "Wow." So
this is I shouldn't ask this, but I'm so fucking curious. I'm gonna ask this. I was watching Ozark. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between a hillbilly and a redneck?
Your hillbillies, from what I understand, are like they come from the mountains. They're Tennessee, the Appalachians, stuff like that. Hillbillies.
Right.
Rednecks
they're on the hills.
Hillbillies.
Oh.
And they're not something to mess with, from what I'm being told.
Yeah.
I've never encountered one exactly. You only see the movies, but my daughter does live in Tennessee, and I've heard some stories. You don't go up on a dirt road up there, and you don't mess around up there because, it's notorious for that. It's the
yeah. That says it.
And then your rednecks are, Oklahoma. Sun beats down on them all the time. That's old school redneck. Flatlands, stuff like that. I guess I'm sure, like we talked about moonshine. There's different categories too, but that's the best I think I could describe it.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because there was a clip where they were talking about the hillbillies that were on the mountains on the hill.
Hatfield McCoys are hillbillies.
Yeah, he said he gave a story before he fucking killed the guy, and he was like, yeah, the hillbilly and the redneck, when Adam and Eve existed, and God said, don't touch the apple, and the redneck was like, but why wouldn't we touch the apple? God gave us the apple, and he grew the apple, and we're here to enjoy the apple. And he bit the apple and fucked up, and the hillbilly, kind of his point was, at that point, was the hillbilly's more patient than the redneck, and something like that. That's why I was like, how do I describe this? But
they have their own set of rules, from a little bit I've heard, and people's had encounters with them. They have their own set of rules and
laws.
Yes.
Laws almost. Yeah. But anyways, that's not here or there. So moonshine and guns is what this episode's about. The Saturday when you took me through the things, there was a thing called 2-gun, 3-gun. There was competitions. Those were private events and even sponsored events by companies, right?
Some of them are. Most of our regular monthly matches they're not really sponsored. You see some guys with jerseys,
Yeah, but you had a shirt that day, and there is events taking place there that are
3-gun. It's 3-gun discipline, but every September we do just a rifle match, rifle only. And we do get sponsors. I probably should have wore the shirt, but I can't remember all of them for sure. But I know Turner's is one of our big ones. Matter of fact, they all the stores get together and they do their own like interdepartment competition, and I think they used to do it at Rahagi's. I'm probably off on that, but they weren't able to do it there anymore. So now they actually host it at our range, and they have their full competition. So all the basic, it's pretty much California. I'm sure other people come from different states. I'm not sure. I haven't been to it, but it's only the employees for Turner's. So they do they have an individual, like Turner's Outdoorsman, like the gun store.
But it's only their employees?
It's only their employees. Nobody else can join. It's just for Turner's employees.
So it's private, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have some guys that work, they'll RO the matches, a range officer. But they have like an individual thing where it's an overall for individual, and then they'll link the stores together like as teams, stuff like that. We have a lot of Turner's employees that work I mean, not work, but they come and shoot our matches on a regular basis, 2, 3 gun, the pistol matches and different things.
How often, how realistic is it for gun shooters throughout the United States to come to California versus Californians getting out of, going to other states just because of our restrictions?
No, I don't think it's that much. I mean, like, these are all California compliance and stuff like that. I mean, you just have to do a little bit of difference. It's nice having a range that close that we can go shoot.
Right.
People think, because it's Californian, part of the gun laws, a lot of the new gun laws they're putting through Congress right now, we already have.
Right.
There's like 13 states that already have those implemented. They're implementing now, and they're good laws. I mean, there's no guns that I'm kept from getting and stuff like that. So, I'm all for it. But for us being in California, the persona is like, oh, where do you go shoot? There's places like that we can go and, do situational shooting and stuff like that if you really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I really like about the 3-gun is, as you saw when we went up there, when we started looking at the pistol match, it really teaches you situations, but, it's not like the movies where this guy's shooting 500 rounds and never has a jam.
Right.
What happens, you drop the clip, your chamber and you're cycling it. What are you doing? We've seen some of the guys and some of the top guys shoot.
We saw 3 of them. And it's like, this guy's the man, and his gun jammed.
Yeah.
Halfway through it, yeah.
Halfway through, and you got to learn to drop your clip, drop it, and especially if you have multiple guns, you can't be sitting there. You get rid of this one, you go to your next one. And I mean, that's situational stuff. And I'm not go too crazy talking about SEALs, but that's how those guys train. I mean, that's life and death for them. So, I mean, it's really cool to be able to, because your adrenaline's up and everything, especially when you're in a situation. So when you practice that, you go through it. If it cycles, breaks, if you can't clear it, putting a new one in, you're dropping it, going to your second weapon. And a lot of people don't understand you have to practice that to get there. It's like, you don't catch your first ground ball. You have to hit hundreds of ground balls to get better at it, but it's the same way. So once you do that, you really, in a situation like that, if I was a police officer,
I was going to say,
I'd
police
be doing
officers
3-gun all the time.
Yeah, but a lot of police officers don't. And I think that's one of the biggest things that everybody has concluded to, that police officers should have more training. They run into so many. I had Detective Quinn Rediker on the podcast, and he is the number one motorcycle performing police officer. I mean, he's held many records. This guy's fucking badass. And when he talks about the stuff of being a police officer that we know about or we hear about, but then you're on a motorcycle and that you're pulling somebody over, and you got to realize, when I hit that siren and when I put the lights, how's everybody going to react? Are they going to brake hard? Do I got to watch out? Where's my clutch? Where's my gas? Okay, now I pull them over, but there's traffic. I got to pull to the side. When I get to the side, okay, I got to put the kickstand. Did I put the kickstand all the way? Is the bike going to drop? What happens if the bike doesn't drop? If the guy turns around and he starts shooting at me, where do I cover myself? Because, I don't
doesn't
have
have a car. It has a bike.
Dude, you hear this, and in the meantime, you're communicating with fucking headquarters, and you're like, hey, I pulled this car over, and there's that, and there's a warrant. And if there's a passenger and the passenger runs one way and another way, and this day I should be wearing my full gear, but I don't want to wear my full gear because if I have to chase somebody, I get exhausted. So this is why I wear a T-shirt. But then I got to deal with the asshole that rides a Harley Davidson and saying, hey, how come you're not wearing fucking armor? It's like, because I fucking run up. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then let alone you pull out your gun and you have to fire and it jams up and you don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Like, it is fucking insane. It's unlimited training. And I think many people, Joe Rogan talks about it, many other people talk about it. It almost seems like police officers don't have enough training. It's like, you have this much training to become a police officer. Now you're a police officer. Now you're on the streets. That's it. And anything can happen. Like, how do you? I
don't think they do enough mandatory training. I mean, you got guys that are full blown. I mean, do martial arts, do everything, grappling, everything like that to train for that. But that's not required. But I guess it's like anything. Some people are just better at their jobs, or they want to excel more or protect themselves more. I mean, I do think, though, firearm training and stuff like that, or situational training, should be more mandatory, because right now it's kind of, I don't know exactly, but I mean, I don't think they have to qualify but twice a year. And obviously I would be doing it at least every other month, have these guys take a day off and go through some situational training. Especially like a shooting that just happened, God forbid, that was terrible, that you should actually run a situation like that, see how you could do it better.
Learn
from the mistakes, and have every one of these, even if you're only running 5 cops, 10 cops at a time, not like the whole unit,
Yeah.
So it's more one-on-one, more personal. So, I mean, I just think sometimes it's like anything. You get caught up in work, overtime, stuff like that. Unless it's mandatory, it's like going to the gym, okay? All of a sudden, you go to the gym all the time. Something happens, a month just blew by. You're like, I haven't been to the gym in a month.
Yeah.
And then you're just trying to get started back up. Now, if you had to go, it'd be a different story. You know what I mean? If you were mandatory, you have to come shoot today. We're doing situations or something like that. I think it probably should be boosted up.
Yeah. A lot of and the gym thing, just to add to that, you don't go for a month. That sets you back 2 months, 3 months. Just talking about something simple. You fuck up a day or two of meals, and that sets you back a few days. Like it's fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like most officers, there's, be honest, I know quite a few, but they're some of them just aren't into guns. They just have them for their duty weapon, and I mean that's literally the only firearm they have is the one they were issued.
Yeah, I mean there's a time that like most police officers, and thank goodness that's the case, but they've never even used their firearm.
Yeah,
like
very few have.
But that's not the point. You're preparing for the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
and then back to the episode you suggested to listen to before this episode. At the end of the day, man, the Second Amendment was there for us because at the end of the day, I've called, believe it or not, in my 20s, I've called the police and I was put on hold. There was hold music.
Oh, yeah.
Not music, but there was like, at the current moment where, our expected phone calls are more than blah, 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 blah. And I was on hold. Yeah. And it took me 15, 20 minutes to get to speak to somebody. And it wasn't a life-threatening emergency. But at the end of the day, it's like this exists and these laws exist. So, one, we can protect ourselves. Now, this is not why we get guns. We get guns because it's a sport. It's a hobby. Yeah. It's fucking golf.
There was a quote I heard from the old Star Trek guy, very active, is always vocal. I can't remember his name, but old like Captain Kirk, the Asian guy, came up with a quote. He's saying, yeah, those 20 million ARs we had over here would work really well over in Ukraine. And somebody said, that's a great point. You just put it there.
Yeah.
That's the reason we have our weapons. So we don't have to rely on somebody else to send us weapons on any type of situation like that, foreign or domestic.
That's dope.
Foreign or domestic. That's what it says.
Facts.
Well, that's one of the things, like the Second Amendment, they act like it's just for our protection. It's to protect us from our government and foreign governments.
Yeah.
But then you got us shipping all this stuff over to Ukraine, but they want to take them from us.
Makes no sense.
And then you got our president saying that you don't need an AR-15 to protect yourself, but he's surrounded by guys that have very similar weapons.
They're all carrying guns.
And a lot of people have the misconception that AR-15 is not an assault weapon. Yeah. It's a sporting rifle. It's looks similar. It's like putting a fairing kit on a Honda Civic. It's not going to make it any faster.
Yeah.
A lot of
our military doesn't use AR.
No, but a lot of people don't realize. They think AR means assault rifle. That's not what it means. It's Armalite. It was the original brand that made the gun, so it's just a design. But they're not really an AR. I mean, AR is not an assault rifle. It's not. It's the big misconception.
Even all the way back to World War II, if you really talk to some of the leaders like the Japanese and stuff, they would have never tried to invade us because we have the biggest guerrilla army on the planet.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons it was an unsustainable fight. They knew
they would never invade us.
That our armed people are bigger than their army itself.
Yeah. And if you look at the amount of history, it's back to, I know a lot of Armenians and they know they went through a genocide, but it's like they don't even understand the history. And it's that Turkey in 1911 banned guns.
Yeah.
They banned guns. And in 2015, they did a genocide.
Yeah.
And the Armenian people had no way of defending themselves. And this has happened over and over and over
in
again.
Russia, in China, in Germany.
Ukraine's the newest one right now. They weren't allowed to have guns. The government just started handing them out to fight for their country,
And then they're handing out guns to their people that have zero training, have zero experience,
None at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I did not even think about comparing those facts with the whole Ukraine thing.
Well,
and now Ukraine's like done. That's it. Russia's got the whole coast, and they're not even talking about it anymore. Like Russia's got it.
Off what you said.
Yeah, now it's Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
January 6th.
Yeah, what's January 6th?
Yeah, that's all you see right now is January 6th. The committee on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, like I have a decent amount of guns. Yeah, it's a hobby.
Yeah,
it's a hobby. I'm gonna teach my 13-year-old. I'm gonna teach my 3-year-old how to shoot these.
Yeah.
I would rather them know how to handle it and how to use it, just for the fun of it. Then it's like the same thing of teaching them how to ride a fucking bike. Like why wouldn't I do that? It's a minimum.
It's like anything. When you're taught, you respect it more. When you're taught
big time
the right way, how to use it, how to clean it. Everything about it. You take care of it. I mean, our biggest thing was, I remember when we were kids, I mean, when we went shooting, we got up early, we came back. I don't care how tired we were. We had to clean the guns right then and there.
Yep.
Took them all apart, cleaned them, and everything had to be put back the way it was. And, safety was taught. Nobody was swinging guns around. Trust me, if we were out swinging a gun around, it was old school. You got a kick in the ass. It wasn't like a slap in the back of the head. You got a kick in the ass.
Any little mishap, you got your ass beat.
You remembered.
Yeah, you didn't forget it. You never do it again.
I won't do that again. But
it's only 2 brothers.
Yeah,
it's only you 2. Nice.
Yeah, well, we have a sister too. But
nice.
She's not into it.
She's like, fuck guns.
Yeah, just 2 brothers. Yeah, and a sister. Yeah.
2 brothers. So three brothers and sisters.
My daughter, when she was born, everybody thought I was crazy. Like, literally the first thing I ever bought her for her very first birthday was a rifle. It's a little, I forget the brand of it right now, but it's pink. It says my first rifle on it, a little bolt action 22.
Yeah.
And she didn't shoot it. I mean, obviously not at one, but there was quite a few years that she had zero interest in it. And we go riding dirt bikes and stuff like that a lot. And we went out to the desert. I think she was maybe 5 was the first time she ever shot it. But I mean, she had it when she was 1.
That's fucking amazing.
But yeah,
that's cool. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
It was the norm. I mean, that's what this country was built on, was guns and alcohol and laws and fairness and
I know we didn't check. I was just gonna point it out so people are like, oh, they got guns on the table. I mean, I safety checked them before we even put them on the table.
Yeah, and I don't even mind safety checking them. Again, we safety checked them a few times. The only thing that has bullets is this fake one. Have you guys played with this?
No, I've seen them online.
So this is the Go gun. It comes with bullets, so they're fake, But you can take this whole thing apart, and it's almost like to learn, how to fucking take a gun apart. You take the whole barrel, the tip. It's functional, except it doesn't. It's not. And anyways, it continues coming apart, and it's pretty fucking badass. But that's the only thing. We safety check this, each one of us. There's nothing. They don't even have magazines in them.
No.
Let alone anything in the chamber. What'd you bring in here?
The one you're picking up now is a CZ tactical sport. When I first got into doing 3-gun, I started off with the Glock 36, and then did a lot of modifications to it and stuff like that, and then wanted something a little better. Started out shooting the gun a little bit for me, and a buddy of mine recommended this. Found one online. They're hard to get because there's not a big surplus of them. Matter of fact, CZ's not actually making them for California anymore.
Yeah.
Due to the DOJ list being a nightmare. But you can still find them private parties. Once in a while, you'll find a gun store that had one on the back shelf they forgot about. But, I mean, they're fully legal in California. It's a very heavy pistol. It's one of my favorite ones. But
what's the weight on this?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's one of the heavier pistols I have. It's the heaviest pistol I have. But it shoots 9mm.
You could hit somebody with it, too.
Yeah, it's when you run out of ammo, you just beat somebody with it.
Nobody's behind the camera, so.
But yeah, it's very flat shooting gun. It's crazy that gun comes with a really light trigger pull from the factory.
Now that's not a stock trigger. I mean, let's talk about the modifications that you've done to this.
Yeah, so I sent that one out to a store shop in I think they're in Louisiana called Cajun Gunworks, and when I got it, the gun's phenomenal. But the trigger, I didn't like the take up. When you start getting into the shooting disciplines, there's all kinds of little tricks and different things, and you find things that work for you and things that don't. But I didn't like the take up and the reset for the trigger, so I did a lot of research and I found 2 shops, and I mean, believe it, one of them wouldn't even return an email or a phone call, and the other guy talked to me for an hour about the firearm, and I was like, I'm gonna send it to him. So I had the trigger done, and then they did what they call barrel bushing. They machined the bushing that's around the barrel. So he told me straight out, if you can set that thing in a like a gun vise where it wouldn't move and pull the trigger, the bullet will go through the same hole every single time, would never miss.
That's crazy. That's beautiful.
But
it's like when I'm shooting.
Or me when I was shooting on Saturday.
Yeah. But I've tuned it myself too. They sell like a spring kit, and it comes with different weights because, sometimes when you're shooting faster and you're double tapping things, you have your second round normally drops a lot because the slides, hits forward and it makes the gun droop sometimes. So I messed with the spring rates and got it up. So, I mean, even if you double tap it, most of the time they're right on top of each other, if not in the same.
So when you most people buy a gun and just leave it stock. You know? But like, is that okay and only upgrade it if you're doing performance shooting?
Yeah. I mean, if you're carrying, like if you're fortunate to have like a concealed carry permit, or if you're carrying, or for any type of thing where you're protecting yourself or, your loved ones, or, just public in general, it's frowned upon due to these guns meet a certain standard from the factory that they have to pass in order to even be, like, say for California, for instance, the DOJ handgun list. You'll probably never see a new handgun on that list. Their expectations, or the technology for it, is not even invented yet.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to do it. There's a lot of gun companies that are pulling once they stop making, like Glocks, for instance, they have, they're up to Gen 5 right now, but you can only get Gen 3s here unless you buy a private party one that somebody brought in from, legally from another state, or if there was an officer that didn't like it and they're selling it, they can private party transfer it. But when Glock stops making the Gen 3, Glock's gone too. There's quite a few companies that just refuse to meet the standards.
It's like anything, though, like your car. What's your most reliable car? Stock, out of there. When you start putting new filters on, exhaust, I mean, don't get me wrong, like a dragster. That's not something you normally drive with, but you have a race team that keeps that up. Yeah. So these guys shoot competitions, so they know how to keep this up, do it, how to shoot it. Yeah. But if you're just a regular officer, like he's saying, stock is like, like your car. You want to be able to start it up every day, take off with it. This thing's
don't fuck with the extended warranty. I mean,
the biggest thing with theory. The biggest thing with the triggers is it's not ideal to do a light and trigger on a service weapon or, carry gun, because 3-gun, you do learn the situational thing, changing mags, if you have a jam, this, that, and the other. But I mean, nobody's shooting back at you. So it's a whole different world when you're actually engaging with somebody else that's shooting back at you. It's a different world. But with a light and trigger, with the pressure, you don't want to have an accidental discharge.
Yeah.
And
which is a lot easier with this type of trigger.
It's that whole concept that because you're around certain things more often than most, there is more chances of there to be an accident.
Yeah.
So if you're a cop and you're carrying a gun every single day, the chances of you having an accident, is much higher.
And
it depends how much they train, though.
But it's also with cops too, though. I mean, that's why they like them to carry the same weapon so they can interchange their mags. Well, what if you go down and I have to use your gun and I'm not used to this thing's hot rodded out and I don't even know what it's doing. You know what I mean?
Right. There's that. But it's back to, like, if we compare this to motorcycles, if I ride my motorcycle once a year, the chances of me getting into an accident are very slim. But if I'm riding my bike every single day, the chances of me getting into an accident are going to be much higher.
But if you ride your regular stock bike all the time and this guy's got a Ducati or something that's all souped up and torqued, and you think it's going to perform the same.
No, of course, custom.
Kinda,
and then that's another conversation. But that's why to encourage the point you guys are making, it makes more sense to keep shit stock, because if you keep it stock and you have an emergency, just another way to look at it, there's 1,000 dealers that can fix it. But when you get into specialties and customizations,
like we talked about, when it's stock, it doesn't matter what ammo you're shooting through it. It shouldn't. It normally won't jam
most of the time.
But when you're shooting a gun like this, the spring is designed to a different ammo and everything like that, and it could cause, if you shoot different types of ammo through, it could cause it to jam or mess up on you. So.
I mean, you should test. I mean, I've seen some factory ammo work in bone stock, pistols, period, that it just doesn't like it. Yeah. So it's always good to test say it's home defense. It's always good to test the ammo you think you want in the gun to make sure it cycles. Because I've heard a lot of stories that, like, I'm just going to go buy this really expensive home defense hollow points or something like that. And then something goes down, they get one round off and they're like, why won't my gun work?
Yeah. I'm thinking about, first of all, I want to say it's really awesome to know you guys. And I don't know if you guys realize how fucking cool it is to go to the range and shoot guns and drink, homemade moonshine. But it's pretty fucking cool. And I can guarantee you, if you guys created like a website and a package of like Saturday, Sunday between these hours, shoot, drink, blah, people will sign up for that shit like crazy. So I want to say thank you for letting me be a part of that. What am I drinking right now? What's this one?
That's your cinnamon toast. That's the Fireball. Remember you called it?
Yeah. No, it's my favorite. I just want people that are listening and hearing this to.
It's pretty terrible. Yeah, I wouldn't.
You don't like it?
No, I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
Pure sarcasm.
No, yeah. I was gonna say I love this. This is way better than Fireball. I gotten to a point in life where I can't stand sugar drinks. I really can't. Like fucking liquid sugar fucks me up. If they do the liquid sugar at Starbucks, whatever, it really fucks me up. So I avoid it. This is my favorite of all the ones you make. It tastes like Fireball, but a million times better with no sugar.
Yeah, it's so Fireball 65 proof. That's 100 and a lot smoother than the regular stuff. So
now anything over 50% alcohol is flammable, right?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all my stuff will light on fire. I guarantee that'll light on fire.
Well, for sure.
I've never tried the aged stuff to light on fire, but I can't see it being any different. But that stuff right there.
But I think the rule is 50% alcohol or more, it's flammable.
Yeah, because
I believe so.
The height when it comes out, like I just cooked, it was at 160 proof, 150. I'll light it, and you can't even see the flame. The only way I can see it if the sun, I can see the fume in the back. It's like a clear flame.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fucking risk about making homemade moonshine.
Well, I mean, if you're spilling it all over the place, I guess, yeah. But I mean, the stuff that the misconception always, like, everybody says, am I going to go blind on this? I mean, I just think that was the old days. They cooked it in these lead things and they didn't care. They were just trying to make money. It was prohibition, you know? But even like it blowing up, I'm like, it was probably some homemade thing that blew up. I mean, these things have pressure releases, everything on them. I don't know what you'd have to do to blow these things up. I mean, my stuff's digital.
It's got to be extreme.
And this is old days. People were just making homemade stuff, and it was probably dripping. And they did a lot of their stuff with, the propane or fire or wood. My stuff's all, I can control my temperature to the gnats, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mine's electronically charged in 220, so my stuff gets hit because I have a bigger than 26 gallon. But I could see, like, if you didn't do it right and you're pumping out 160 and you got a flame there and the guy trips and falls, the whole thing goes up. Something like that out in the woods.
I mean, his is a little bit more controlled. I mean, I think you see a lot of those stories or hear these stories that, they're out in the woods. It was...
Yeah, no electricity.
And I'm sure they were drinking quite a bit of their stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? While they were cooking.
Make sure it's good.
You're in the woods. You got nothing to do. You're just brewing shit. You're fucking bored out of your fucking mind, and you're just drinking.
Yeah. You're shit hammered. You know what I mean?
And then your patience just runs out, and you're like, I have an idea. You know, if I put more fire, and you know,
well, it's not even that. I mean, you don't want to. You actually want it to stay low and drip slower. But you know, you got to. I watched them where they're cooking it with wood, but you know, I cook a 26-gallon, and it's 4 or 5 hours cooking. I mean, these guys got 100-gallon pots out there, so. I mean, I know how long, like when they do moonshiners, they show it really quick. I know those guys have been out there for 6, 7, 8 hours cooking, you know, making 15, 20 gallons of booze. It takes a long time. And it's actually not about how hot you cook it. You want to keep it slow drip and make it cook that way. You don't want to say, okay, like anything, I can cook it faster. It's not how it works with moonshine. No.
So, and you got to be consistent.
So those guys, it's a lot of downtime, and it's a lot. You still got to watch your stuff. You got to taste it, make sure it's not getting scorched or anything like that. Every jar, I'm even tasting it as we're going. And I mean, it's time consuming. That's why it's awesome to have the pool and the TV right next to it. And I was having a couple drinks, and it actually overflowed on me twice, just a little bit. I was just pissed off, just a little bit. I was like, damn it.
We were enjoying the pool too much.
Yeah.
No. It's an amazing process. The first thing that I was thinking about when I think moonshine and prohibition is this is where, you know, my nationality, my parents' nationality is Cuban, you know, and this is where Cuba had its biggest success because the mob was tired of doing these underground clubs and having this moonshine and then the federal agents coming in and busting them.
Yeah.
So they would build these underground fucking da-da-da. So then they were like, fuck this, man. In Cuba, you know, Cuba's 90 miles away from Florida. Let's start serving alcohol there. Let's open up casinos, and let's make that the party place of the fucking world.
Yeah,
they almost did it.
And well, they did it from 1919 to 1958. You know, the year before Fidel Castro, Cuba was the #1 party place in the world. I mean, everybody, Frank Sinatra, Al Capone was running casinos out there. You know, he had casinos. It was Italian mobs. It was the mojito was invented. The mambo music, rum and cokes, Cuba Libres. Like it was the mega. There was no Vegas. Let's get the facts straight.
Yeah.
There was no Vegas. There was no Miami. You know, Miami was nothing. Miami was fucking. You know, what people don't understand about Miami is a lot of Miami is under sea level. You know, so there's a lot of man-made islands and a lot of man-made stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just swamps.
Yeah.
There was a point where Miami was just swamps, and Cuba was the spot. Again, it's 90 miles. It's L.A. to San Diego. It was nothing.
And less regulations.
No regulations. Because remember, we had prohibition.
Yeah, and they owned it.
And it was a fucking popping spot. And then 1959, Fidel comes in. And the only thing I'm going to bring up about that is the only thing that seemed very interesting about Fidel Castro at that time is not only did he take out the Cuban government and the Cuban police, but he also took out the Italian mob, you know, because they were running all those fucking casinos. The original Tropicana was in Cuba.
Yeah.
I was in Cuba in 2016, and I saw the Tropicana show, the original one from 1938. You know, they're still showing that every single night in Havana.
Do you think if Fidel could go back and see what happened to his country, would he do the same thing?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think he would. And this is why people don't like him. This is why people detest him. And just to be clear, again, he took out the Cuban government, Cuban police, and the Italian mob. He didn't do that by himself.
No.
He didn't do that by himself.
No.
You know, he went to school in the United States. He went to Harvard.
Yeah.
He went to Harvard. He studied here. He loved the Cubans call Americans Yankees. He loved the Yankee way. You know, like he was a big fan of that. But yeah, I think he would have done exactly the same. And he was successful if you think about it. Again, Cuban people are very against him, but
because they're so poor.
But they're very poor. But what some people think about the whole communism thing is everybody's educated, everybody can read, everybody has a degree. If you look at the Olympic gold medals of Cuba, you'd be blown away. Boxing, volleyball, swimming, baseball, some of the best baseball players. their history of gold medals for the amount of people that they submit for population they submit to the Olympics and the amount of gold medals they come back with.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any country that has more percentage wise. But it put a stop to Havana because Havana, it put the brakes on.
But communist countries like Russia and China, their athletes are professionals. The government pays for them to train 24/7, where most countries, these people still have jobs. And no, I get what you're saying though. But
it's fucked
here,
up.
Because they can't get paid here.
Yeah, it's fucked up because at the end of the day, it's like there's dentists, doctors, and fucking attorneys that are making $20 a month driving taxis to make extra money. Like that's terrible.
Yeah,
that part's terrible. But then you run into like little things like in 2008 when there was a recession in the United States, and you're like, well, the people in Cuba don't have to worry about housing. Everybody has a roof over their head. There's no homeless. There's food guaranteed, and it's not the best food. It's fucked up. I'm not. That's not here or there. The point is during Prohibition, the mob was fucking fed up. The mob was like, this is bullshit, and they went to Cuba.
Yeah.
And Cuba, I just read this not too long ago. One of the first international flights, once they invented the airplane, one of the first international flights out of the United States was to Cuba. Because that's how much business was generating out there. It had a lot of potential.
Imagine how. If I was a mobster, I would have been mad. 90 miles away, you could just go do what you want.
Anything
all
you
that
want.
got thrown away.
They're even today, when you go to Cuba and you go to their hotels, they have 3 plugs: the electrical plugs, they have the American, the European, and the Asian plug, because that's how much tourism they were getting.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just bring up about Cuba that I like a lot. You go to Cuba and it looks like Europe, like because of the Spanish were there. Like this is where the Pirates of the Caribbean. Cuba, America's what, 278 years, 79?
Give or take.
Cuba, Havana has been around for 500 years. They just celebrated their 500 years, and that's where the Pirates of the Caribbean were. That's where the rum and then was being drank and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I forgot my point. This moonshine's fucking so good.
How long they've been around? Like that's what we were talking about. They've been around longer than we have.
They've been around longer than we have, and the history is very, very, very rich. Yeah. What I like about it is, like what I was saying, is it's very European, but when you're there, you're surrounded by the Caribbean. So a lot of islands and weather and white sand and this, that. There's actually usually the picture I post up is a picture of a Cuban reef that was taken in 2016, and it's full of fish and sharks, and it's full of everything. Yeah. It's not like Hawaii. They were saying that, there's been so much hunting that the wildlife is not the same. It's not the same as it was 30 years ago or 40 years ago. You go to Cuba, that was maintained because it's all illegal.
Yeah, they're not allowing him to it. But I think they've lost a little bit of their persona too, because it was the Cuban cigar was just supposedly the best in the world. They've already taken all the seeds in the Dominican and everywhere else, Colombia. They're growing them everywhere else now. So
not only that, but you have to treat the land. And you have to treat the soil every 5 to 10 years. And if you don't have the right things to do it with, you start running into issues and problems. Yeah. But you had the Cuban cigars, you had the Cuban rum, you had the sugar cane. Cuba's rich in nickel. Anyways, the history was just fucking insane. But
yeah. I thought it was going to open back up soon. It seemed like they let a couple tourisms go over there, and all of a sudden it seemed like it just went back quiet again.
It just stopped. I think there's a preconceived notion of what to expect in Cuba, and people don't know what to expect, and they're terrified. There's a lot of people that don't even know about Cuba. There's like people like, do you speak Cuban? Like, what? It's Spanish. Like, I had somebody spell Cuba with QBA. It's like, what are you? How you spell it? Anyways, that's not here or there.
Yeah.
The point is we're here right now. We're drinking moonshine. And we got guns. What's the other bad boy you got there?
That one's one of my newer ones. I got that one from a friend of mine. This is considered by most people like the holy grail of pistols for competition shooting.
It's bougie.
Is this the butter?
This one, it's fully custom built.
Well, you spun the spinner with that one.
No, he did it with that one.
Did he do it that one?
You might have did it with this one too, but
I did it twice. I did it with one of the handguns, and I did it with this.
With the PCC.
With the PCC.
Yeah. But this
I was watching the video on that. That's fucking perfect.
It's called a 2011. I always wanted one. I have a lower to build my own custom one, but I was able to purchase this one from a friend of mine. He was building a new one and needed to fund that project, so I lucked out and got it from him. But it's a very unique gun. It's similar design to a 1911. It looks very similar, but it's a double stack magazine. So you got a little bit wider grip.
I was going to say, does a wider grip help more for just competition, or would it also help more for cops as well? Or
it just depends. Every pistol is different the way it fits in your hand.
Yeah,
depends on the size of your hand. Like I always say, it fits like a glove. There's some guns it just feels that way. If you have a small hand, you're probably not going to like a wide grip like that because you can't grip it.
Yeah. But
and that was one of the reasons I picked up my Glock 17, because I was like, this is a bigger gun. It feels right. But then I was like, fuck, I should have got a 19 because it's just easier to conceal and you can customize a little bit better. But
buy more.
Like a Sig 2269. Just for some reason, just that gun just fits my hand. I just love that gun.
Yeah.
What gun is that?
Sig.
Sig.
6 Hour 226.
Yeah.
But this one's a trip because, you literally have to buy just the lower, the grip pins to it. They have to machine the slide, the barrel, everything. Like, you can't, there's a few parts that are interchangeable, but like if I needed a new barrel or the slide cracked, from age or whatever it may be, like I have to have it machined for this gun. I can't just go buy it off the shelf.
So I'll wait till he builds his new one.
And then take that one over.
But you feel the difference in the slide. You felt it. It's so smooth. The tolerances are so tight, but it doesn't feel like it's just amazing.
You don't have to say your secret if you don't want to say your secret, but you were telling me what you use to lube these up and get the smoothest, and again, you don't have to say it, but.
Oh, I don't, you can buy it anywhere.
What do you mean you can buy it anywhere? You can buy
pretty much. But like I said, we've been shooting our whole life. We've used like lube wise, I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And when I got into
because it's not just these guns and the way they're set up, but like, your ARs, everything just felt so much smoother than.
Yeah. A lot of it's the parts that I buy. You can go buy, an AR off the shelf, and they're good, they're nice, they're fun to shoot. They'll serve the purpose you intended for. But, like that rifle, you can't buy that off a shelf. Like I literally purchased the lower legally, and then went through and did a lot of research, and I literally had to buy every single part to that rifle and put it together myself.
Let's talk about this rifle. What have you done, and what makes this California compliant compared to other rifles and some of the upgrades on this?
So with this rifle, in all reality, you can't buy an AR today and register it as an assault rifle. But a few years back, they had the assault rifle ban that went through. So you either had to comply with registering it as an assault weapon, or you have two options, fixed mag option or featureless.
Now, the fixed mag, I just ran into one of those where I saw an AK-47 that looked fucking badass, but it had a fixed mag. And a fixed mag, just to define it, was you have to, while the mag is in place, you have to feed the bullets in, and you can only feed 10 at a time directly, and it's very awkward. You can't get a speed loader. You can't really do anything, and it's just annoying.
Yeah. So the rifle you were showing me, yours, that's considered fixed mag.
Oh, mine is considered fixed mag?
Considered fixed mag. Even though your mag drops, there's different routes, there's
Let me
different
bring
companies.
It out. Go ahead.
So with yours, you can't release the mag unless you break the upper from the lower, which is what your mechanism that you had installed But with yours, you can keep a pistol grip. You can have what they call so far evil features, which is, in my mind's a joke. With mine, everybody gives me crap because I have the fin on here, but I've gotten used to it.
Yeah, because yours, you have a fin, but you created a system. So here's the fin. So this doesn't allow you to put your thumb through.
Yeah.
But you created a system where you can rest your thumb, and
it's supposed to be mocking what a hunting rifle. When you shoot a hunting rifle,
Yeah.
Same theory. That's why it's
That's what it's
California
mocking.
compliance.
Yeah. To be featureless, you can't have a forward grip. You can't have adjustable butt stock. You can't have a pistol grip. You're not supposed to be able to wrap your thumb around the back of the grip.
And mine, what I thought was decent is that you can grip it completely and have no issues.
Yeah.
But you have to break it.
Break the action tube.
Break the action tube. So I have to do this. It doesn't have to be much. I mean,
no.
But that's what allows you to have the pistol grip.
And that's what allows that's what allows me to have the pistol grip, and allows me to have the mag drop. But my release button for my mag is gone.
See, that's why it's considered a fixed mag. Like you can't drop the mag unless you break the action, which, there's different ways. They do make.
Yeah, now I saw
they don't really make them
now.
anymore, but they originally, when they came out with the fixed mag option, they actually had it milled into the lower where you couldn't put a mag in it. Like you were for instance with that AK you were talking about.
Does that allow them to have the adjustable stock like that too, or is that still?
This is stock.
Yeah, but that's an adjustable.
Yeah, because it's considered fixed mag. He can have what they call evil features.
If you didn't have a fixed mag, you couldn't have that stock.
You'd have to pin it. They have different ways. There's little stoppers you can put in there, this or that.
Yeah, and I got this when Spike Tactical was kind of starting out. So this was a very affordable price. The only thing I've added to this is the scope and this little red dot.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, like
the flashlight.
That your rifle, you could switch to featureless by simply just changing.
What does that
grip,
mean, featureless?
Which is how mine's configured. You can't have no evil features. No
evil
pistol grip.
Features.
Yeah.
You couldn't have the adjustable stock, and you'd have to put a fin on it for sure.
Because they say it makes the gun so-called more deadly.
Now, I'm going to tell you one more story about my gun, why I got it. One, it was a new company at the time. Two, this is called the Crusader. Are you familiar with the Crusader? So for people that are listening, they don't know the Crusader. The Crusader has a Christian cross on the left side and a Bible verse on the right side. And the story of why I was a sucker to give my money in is they made this so no Muslim would use this against a Christian, because they wouldn't touch it. So I thought that was a cool little fucking. And Trump was president at the time. So
gotcha. Yeah, they find a way to sell stuff.
Oh yeah.
ABC always be closing.
But yeah, with this rifle, it's got like every part has a reason for it. I mean, when you shot it, that past Saturday, like it doesn't move. It shoots one of the flattest shooting rifles I've ever shot. And it's got an adjustable gas block, light and bolt, custom, the lightened and reduced buffer system. The upper's all skeletonized. I mean, the rifle, last time I weighed it, I think even with the optic, it's just a little over 6 pounds, which is really light.
Yeah.
But the rail's real light. It's all carbon fiber weaved. Company makes it. I found, and
Who is that company? Because that's pretty badass. That's a great
Bridgent Arms.
Bridgent Arms.
But yeah, they have a couple different, but this is their like flagship one. Like you gotta be careful on depending where you hold it. When I shoot, I hold it way out here, so it's easier to drive to the next target when I'm doing my 3-gun stuff. But you got to be careful because the gas tube's like right there, and if you're done and you're holding your rifle and you're not careful, I've burnt my thumb a couple times in that little bastard. So
really,
but
you said it's carbon fiber, right?
Yeah, it's all carbon fiber.
How does carbon fiber deal with heat?
Great. They make full.
So what's burn you? It's this part that burns you, or
that little gas tube right here.
Oh, the gas. Okay, I see.
Yeah, because when you fire the round, it shoots and expels the gas, and that's what helps push some of the
it.
bolt back and stuff like that. But it does get hot.
The optics he has are the ones I really like, because a lot of times when you're using a red dot, if you don't have a battery, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
So these ones have etched in it. So no matter what, I mean, if you want to illuminate it in green or red, this illuminates it more, but it's etched in there, so you still have a target downrange with that sight. And I'm surprised more of them don't do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, this has a green and red, but I don't think it has an
No,
etched.
if you don't have
It's a typical red dot. Most red dots,
red dot.
you
So
have
if your
to turn it on.
battery's dead, you're just looking down a.
This one's etched.
Is
I
it
mean, it's not etched, but it's got, like right now it's off.
Yeah, okay, you have a black dot in the middle.
I have a black dot.
But most
I have a
of
black
them-
circle, yeah.
Most of them don't have anything.
Yeah, and that circle lights up green. Oh, watch that. That circle lights up green or red, whatever, and it has different brightnesses.
Yeah. Now this one has an etched outer and inner, so when you light that up, it's fine.
Let me see.
But when you, it's cool because when your battery's dead, because who knows what, you know?
Yeah, my I had got corrosion in my battery compartments that don't even turn on. But
You don't
that's
even
one of
use
the
the
nice
battery anymore. It just uses the etched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you didn't have batteries or your.
And when you put your scopes on, do you use there's people that use Loctite. Do you use Loctite?
I don't.
You want to hold that or should I put it
You can
down?
put it back down. I don't. I usually torque it. Honestly, I probably torque it too much, but that's
Yeah, because the thought processes with some of the tactical trainings that I've done or classes that I've taken, it's like once you zero in, you don't want to be taking off and putting on scopes. You know?
I mean, they have
It's
mounts that
put blue Loctite.
When you shoot a lot, you can tell when your gun's off. So like my gun that we shot. So Joe had just built me that one. That was the first time I've shot it. So that was only the second time it's actually been fired.
Yeah.
But right away when I shot it, I knew it was shooting high left. It only took me like 3 rounds to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then we dialed it in. So I mean, if your gun's not on, you can see where when you shoot a lot, you know where your bullets are going. 3 rounds, I shot bottom left, bing, ping, bing, I hit it. So then we knew we had to dial it in.
Right.
So if you're shooting your gun a lot, you'll know like your first or second round, you're like, oh, that it's
What's going on? Yeah.
what's going on here.
No, even when I was firing one of the guns, I was watching the GoPro videos that I was recording. You guys were like, "Oh, that's shooting low, shooting high." Okay, that's you. That's the thing. Like whatever.
yeah.
You guys are on top of that.
Yeah, when you shoot enough, he shoots a lot more than I do anymore. I mean, we've shot our whole lives, but you're like, all right, if I see it, high left ready, I'll aim automatically, bottom right or whatever, and bing, I'll hit it. So then, even if I wasn't on, I know where I need to aim.
Yeah.
It's almost like using windage,
Yeah.
Sniper's not going, shooting a mile away and he's going, I'm aiming dead on. No, he's like way over here trying to figure it out.
Yeah. What's going on?
A lot of it like Glocks for a lot of people. When they first get Glocks, they shoot low to the left. Like everybody does it when they first get Glocks.
Because of them.
It's
And that's,
you're jerking the trigger, so you're automatically dropping the gun with that, and then a lot of it's your trigger, your finger placement where it's at. And most people try to stick their finger all the way in, and you have a natural tendency to, when you pull the trigger, it automatically curls that way.
Yeah.
It's if you're shooting right-handed. Left-handers are always low to the right.
Yeah.
Right-handers shoot low to the left.
And the Glock is light in the front, in that aspect. And you've seen the difference in the ammo that by not gripping the Glock hard enough, it sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's true too.
It caused it to jam.
Yeah.
But
the one you were shooting was my first competition Glock, and I mean I got a lot of hours and a lot of rounds through it. But
this thing's fucking broken. You're like,
no,
it's not. You're broken.
But I have it tuned, and I reload, so I load my ammo a little lighter for competition stuff, so I can shoot faster. I don't have as much recoil. Some people's cheating, but
but you see how we told you right away. He said you need to grip it tighter.
Yeah. The second you started gripping it,
you never.
And when you guys said that, I was like, well, what the fuck does my grip have to do with this? And it changed everything.
Yeah. Big difference.
Big difference. I'm going to pour myself some of this, Bob. What is this?
That's apple pie.
And I've had this before. It tastes, it's called apple pie because it tastes like apple pie or it looks like apple pie or all the above?
Tastes all the above. need a scoop
It
of ice cream.
Smells,
That's all you need.
yeah. It smells like apple pie. It smells like everything. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers. That one I cannot make enough of. That one.
Nope.
But I tell you what, Fireball's coming up close second. Lately.
Yeah. No. I love Fireball. Yeah. But it's interesting because my birthday was like 2 weeks ago, and I bought the ones that I bought. I took them all. They all finished. I was the only one drinking the Fireball. They were like, "That's kind of too strong." You know, everybody felt how strong it was, but it was my favorite. But the apple pies, gone. And then which one's that?
This is my Hunter. This is my rye. This is my flagship right now. This is what I'm aging, and I'm gonna actually turn half of this into a barrel aged old fashioned to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
I got a new barrel showing up here real soon, and I'm gonna do another batch, and I should have like at least 3. I'm gonna start doing 4 barrels that I'm aging.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what.
How big are those barrels?
So those are 20 liters, 5 gallons, a little over 5 and a quarter gallons each.
Yeah.
I think a lot of different sizes. Like he got me into it. I was never a big whiskey guy. I don't know why I was younger. It like screwed my stomach up. I couldn't even take a shot of Jack. I was more of a rum guy.
Fuck Jack.
Got a little older and started trying some better stuff.
Fucking
and
guy. No.
he got me into old fashions. And my barrel's smaller. It's like it's 3 liter, right?
Yours might be a 5.
5 liter. Yeah, it's a 5 liter because it holds almost 3 full of the 1.75 liters.
Yeah.
Holds almost 3 of them.
As much as I'd like to fill up a big 55 gallon, the research I've done, the smaller barrels age faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
You know, what I'm doing in 8 months takes me 2 or 3 years in a big one. Plus it doesn't take me 6 batches to fill that damn thing up. You know what I mean? And have to move that thing around.
I think you gotta mix it up. Do some bigger ones and some smaller ones.
Yeah, I got some 10s.
I can't drink fucking Jack Daniels. I'll tell you I'll tell you one of the craziest Jack Daniels stories ever in my life. There was just a time in my life that a friend of mine, a roommate, we used to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels every night, and then we'd go party or do something. One night we went out, and I'm not even kidding. If you cut me open, there was a bottle of Jack Daniels there, like the whole bottle, like it was just there, right? And if you would have cut, he had a bottle of Jack Daniels. And we're driving, and we're in our early 20s. And as we approach our destination, there was no parking, so I had to go around the block. And as I go around the block, I pull into this driveway, and this motorcycle cop, burp, burp. And I'm like, fuck, I'm done. That's it. There's no...
Yeah, you're going to jail.
Going to jail. The end. This cop approaches, roll down your window. I go, okay. And he goes, starts smelling. How many beers did you drink?
None.
And I'm like, 3, 4?
No, I drink
5?
Jack Daniels. Yeah, you didn't ask the right question.
No, I was so confused. I was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's all, get out of here. And I'm like, okay. And I'm in a private parking lot at the same time too, right?
Yeah.
And my friend looks at me and he goes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you fucking dumb? And I'm like, bro, it worked. Like, you know, like whatever. And the cop jumps on his bike and he goes, wait. Comes back to the window and goes, and I go, yes, officer. He goes, have you ever had a DUI? And I was like, no, officer. And he's all, get out of here. Just get out of here. Park your car and get out of here. And I was like, that was it. But we drank so much Jack Daniels in those 2-3 years. And the fucked up part is that when we got really smashed, the only way to, because, you know, at the end of the night, once you go to the club, once you party, this, that, you got to get the alcohol out of your system, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's the only way to sleep. It's the only way to be a normal person. So you know how we would force ourselves to fucking throw up? We would pour the biggest shot of Jack Daniels at the end of the night. So imagine, you've been drinking, this is like 21, 22, 23, whatever. So we'd fucking, at the end of the night, been drinking all day. If I have one more drink, I will throw up. We would pour that one drink. Fucking go, and fucking throw up. Today, I can't drink Jack Daniels, even if my life depended on it.
We would go to Jack in the Box and order 20 of those Jack in the Box tacos, and that's how we went to sleep. We just slaughtered them with just the greasiest, nastiest stuff on the planet. And
I used to do the 2 chicken sandwiches and 4 tacos.
4 tacos.
Yeah, 2 chicken sandwiches, 4 tacos. fucking the buttermilk ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just those things were, yeah. And it was.
Now, if I do that once, I gain like fucking 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Like if I have a night like that, it's just like.
And it's funny you say that though. I mean, when you're young, you drink this stuff. I remember when I first started drinking some booze. We're talking just out of high school. We walk in their liquor store and they had Kessler up there, smooth as silk. And I'm like, man, that stuff must be amazing. It's as smooth as silk on it. Give me a bottle of that, right? Man, I took, we were still just drinking beer back then. I hit that and I was like, oh, it's good. Man, it was fucking terrible. Worst shit, I remember to this day, worst shit I've ever tasted. But I mean, like you said, I started off drinking Jameson, some Gentleman Jack, and Progress, just like, you drink a beer. It's not like your first beer you ever drank. You go, oh, this was fucking amazing. And you go straight to IPAs. Yeah. So, I mean, you graduate. But now that I'm such, snobby about it, I guess, or connoisseur, I mean, I don't care sometimes what it costs. If it's what I want to drink, man, I just went to a tasting Tuesday in Laverne at Chase's very good whiskey bar. I mean, it's a restaurant. Yeah. They had a cigar whiskey tasting. They had Four Roses, Jack Daniels, the Bonded one, new one. They had.
I got a buddy of mine. He loves Four Roses.
Very good. Roses. Had 4 different flavors. They were selling cigars. We got to smoke cigars. They had food out there. It was great. I mean, I love tastings like that. But yeah, we just went there. He says he does the whiskey tastings. Maybe I'll forward it to you and we can meet out there one time when he does another one.
That'd be badass.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, drinking cigars and smoking whiskeys.
Nice.
This is good shit. Some more. This is good.
Finish that one up. Drinking cigars and smoking whiskey.
That's right. Hey, that's the name of this episode.
This is good stuff. I'm telling you. This is good stuff.
No, it's outstanding stuff. And this is only the third glass.
Yeah.
This is the third glass. Yeah. And that's what's so beautiful is that some alcohols you drink and you have to drink so much of it to really get a fucking buzz and feel happy. This is like you're sipping on 3 and you're done.
I'm the wrong person to talk about it because I'll be honest, I've never had a hangover. But
that's a good thing. That
it's not that my lack of not trying, but
when you drink really good stuff like my stuff.
But like even when I was a kid, younger, I've never had a hangover. It was like, you didn't drink enough. Well, you haven't drank with me, but you'd say otherwise. But with this, like, at most, I wouldn't consider it a hangover. My stomach might be a little messed up in the morning, and I just eat something, and it'd be gone like that. Now, I get it from him, and dude, I'll drink a whole jar of that, and in the evening.
But that's the quality, because if you default to the reasons why I've had hangovers, it's because fucking like I can't do a Long Island iced tea anymore, or an Adios motherfucker. There's just
a lot of it's mixing too.
You're just mixing, and it's a lot of sugar, and the sugar's dehydrating.
But when I was younger, I mixed everything.
Well, let's be clear.
It was all sugar stuff, and I'm fortunate.
Yeah, I never had a hangover off shit like until I was in my 30s.
Yeah,
but now like I'm not mixing shit, and it's got to be quality.
Yeah,
like fuck. Back in the days, Jose Cuervo.
You drink anything just to get
Jose
your buzz
Cuervo
on.
Gold. That shit was disgusting compared to the fucking tequilas that are available nowadays.
Yeah,
even Patron is pretty. I tell people, if you have to order a shot and you got to tell the bartender, can you chill it, add salt, add lime. Do a fucking promise to the world when you take your cheers. Like, cheers, we're going to drink to this, and I promise starting tomorrow. And you get the salt and take the shot and bite the lime, and you're still making faces. That's not a smooth alcohol.
No.
That's
like you can't sip Patron. Like, we're sipping on this, and this is stronger than Patron.
I'm not knocking an oyster, but when you got to put hot sauce and lemon on that snot that you got to suck out of that shell just to give it flavor, and then you swallow it because it tastes like a booger. I'm like,
and you got to hold your breath.
I'm like, oh my God, you paid like a lot of money for those, and you're sucking them down, but you put all this shit on it. Man, there's a reason you're doing,
Yeah.
Once you're manipulating the taste of it, it's like, how good is it?
Yeah.
Because it seems like everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It can't be that good.
No.
And on the other side of it, I like good hot sauces. I like a fucking good hot sauce. And some people are like, hey, you're fucking taking away the taste of the original food. And it's like, maybe, or maybe I'm enhancing it, or maybe I'm just spicing it up. That's why it's called the spice.
Taste.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm ruining it. But to your extent, it's like squeezing a whole fucking lemon in there
with hot sauce,
putting a whole, and it's got to be a certain hot sauce. It's got to be Tabasco,
Tapatio, or whatever the hell it is. But
I mean, for instance, your food, you're talking about hot sauce. It's probably great without it, but you enjoy it with it. He's talking about masking.
Right, masking. Yeah.
You got to add all this shit to not taste that.
My mother made a great point. She, when I cook, it's like I don't measure anything. I don't calculate anything. I just like enough of this, a little bit of that, and my food's very flavorful. It's actually very flavorful. My mother tells me, Robert, your food's too flavorful. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, this is why losing weight will be difficult. Sorry.
When you get older,
when you make good food, you eat more of it.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. If you grab a chicken and just throw it in hot water and no salt and serve it on a plate, you're gonna bite 2 bites and be like, I'm good. This is good. But if you flavor it and bread it and this, that, and make a sauce with it and fucking, you're gonna eat more than what you're supposed to.
I totally agree with you. When you make it good, you drink more of it.
You drink more of it. You eat more of it. You do everything.
Yeah.
Joe, you're always defaulting to the one and only.
That's his.
This is my go-to. I like all of them, but this is.
I can't.
If it's in front of me, I can't. Until it's gone, I won't switch.
Yeah. I'm telling you, gentlemen, I had such a fucking blast on Saturday. I'll be honest, all weekend was pretty amazing because then I did the supermoto on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish you were there, Bob, because that was a bike shed thing.
That was the dirt too. You went across dirt. I think I seen you. You did
towards the end, they opened up the dirt track.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I seen you running on it.
Yeah, that looks fun.
I'll get over it. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, and there's nothing to talk about. It's just,
Yeah.
But the events, and we're actually going to do, a group of people are going to do that same thing, but the only complaint, even if it was a complaint, was it's so fucking hot. It was a hot day and it's in Riverside, and you're wearing full fucking gear
and stuff. Yeah.
I was like in a fucking tank top. Like I got fucking roasted, but I was like, all right, fuck it. But you do that in the fall. Oh,
it's like me with 3 Gun when he says, let's go out in June and hit that. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You were talking about, before we started recording, before Bob got here, we were talking about the supermotos. And basically the supermotos is the course that I was taking. And they're practically dirt bikes with 17-inch wheels and street tires.
Yeah.
Yep. They're fucking badass. They're so much fun. The guy instructing it, I'm not going to say Brian's name. Brian's badass, but it was funny because he was talking about, these bikes can do anything, and if hypothetically you were gonna get pulled over and you saw a golf course, you can like slide through the fucking golf course, and then if there was a fucking sand dune, you can jump the sand dune and then get on the fucking. And he just described this whole scenario that was just perfect, and I was like, you could totally do that, and this was the first time that I was instructed and taught to ride like on top of the fucking gas tank and put your foot forward, and it's completely different.
The power to rate on it, those front ends will just come up on you all day long.
But a lot of it's turning with the dirt bikes and stuff, and because it's a dirt bike that they modified for.
Yeah, it's a dirt bike with street tires at the end of the day.
And your turning's a little different. On the bikes you're leaning a little more. On a dirt bike you're actually giving it gas, and you're coming around the corner, or even using your front brake to come around a pin turn and stuff like that. You're doing a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, and that was the mind fuck. It was like 90% front brake, 10% back brake. I'm cool with that. But it was every time we went out, because it was like 30 minutes riding, 20 minutes class, 30 minutes riding, 20 minutes class, and we rode 8 hours, like just like that. But then it's like, we're opening up the dirt. Don't push your front brake. Like, what?
Wash out.
Yeah. As soon as you put that, you're like, wait a minute. All day, it's been only front brake. Yeah. And now it's like, no front brake. And it's.
Yeah. Dirt bike, handful of that, you're done.
Yeah.
You're 100% done.
And when I used to ride, I did a lot of dirt. I rode dirt every weekend and street. And it always used to throw me off because in the dirt, you don't want to grab a whole lot of front, but on the street, and it would take a little adjusting to until I got used to it. But yeah, it's a lot different.
This is what I like about the BMW GSA. Okay, you have link braking. And link braking is you grab the front brake as hard as you can, and it will adjust where the braking should be. 70-30, 30-70, 50-50. Wow. You know, so there's no thought process. And it has the traction control. It's fucking badass. It was a mind fuck when I did that at the class on Sunday, because all of a sudden it's like, we're going to open up the dirt. When you go to the first turn, don't push your front brake. I was like, what? And then, you know, obviously when you hit the fucking the jumps or the whoops, stand up, you know. And then when you hit the second, what do you call it? Berm. When you hit the second berm, everybody goes over it. I'm telling you guys, everybody goes over it.
Come in too fast.
Don't go over it, but you're gonna go over it. I'm taking $100 bets.
You're coming in too fast.
Yeah. And, you know, I didn't go too fast, and I hit it just right, but I actually, on one of them, I stalled. I was taking it, and I was like, no front brake, back brake. I stalled, and I grabbed the clutch, was able to start it, stay on the bike, and fucking, you know, get back on. I was like, oh, fuck it, I did it. But it's weird, because it's one of those things, like when you start telling people, don't crash, you're like, I'm going to crash.
Yeah.
We were brought up on dirt bikes first before we went to street. So I feel like that made us better riders on the street part. Yeah. Because, I mean, even sometimes when you lock up your bike, not the front wheel, but your back will slide like dirt, you know, shit gets squirrely. I mean,
you know turn a lot sliding the back end around.
Yeah,
like
that's
almost
how you turn.
Kind of like right. And sometimes you got to like accelerate when you're drifting, and you have to continue more. Like, and I've been through that. It's just like ignorance is bliss. Yeah. You know? And sometimes
the supermo's a little different because you got the street tire, but like in the dirt, there's a lot of times where, you know, you'll hit the back brake to get the slide, and then you start rolling into the throttle to keep it going.
Right.
You know.
But you'll like you said on geez, I just thought about it.
Ignorance is bliss. I said ignorance is bliss, and then you're
the BMW.
Right.
Like, if you're used to grabbing that front brake and then to do that, get on something else and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you got to watch that. You know, you get used to that. That's a bike you're used to. How could I say it? It's just like anything. You know, the gun's all souped up. That bike is, nobody else has that. So you're just used to riding that. You put on yourself on another bike, you get in a situation, you grab a handful of front brake.
Yeah, you're going to eat shit.
Yeah.
You're going to eat shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your front tire locks up, especially if you don't have ABS. If you don't have ABS, you lock up that front tire, slides underneath you. And we've all seen gnarly crashes like that. You know, I had a buddy of mine, we were going through the 17, which is a highway from Santa Cruz to San Jose. And he was taking turns really crazy, but on a street light. And the street light has lower suspension. And when he took one of the turns, the corner of the engine guard touched the ground, lifted the front tire.
Yep.
Flew out.
I mean, that bike's not made for that. That's you want to do that, you do that on the Ducati or something like that. But those bikes are for and you know, I've seen guys do it. They get low, and like you said, they'll skip. And if they're going too fast, like you said, it'll come completely out. Or you watch them go pop, and then they'll go.
I think
your butthole just puckers on that fucking seat. You know what I mean?
I think it's fucking exciting. The Bagger Racing League. I think it's so fucking exciting. But then as you read the comments, it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing with these
nuts.
baggers?
They're fucking
and
nuts.
Racing on this shit. Like this doesn't.
You're that fucking bored that you gotta race that fucking thing.
But there's such a fucking exciting. I ended up getting my racer license because of this. You know, I went to Willow Springs and took the fucking courses and got my license. But then I was like, dude, I'm not. Somebody's like, Robert, if you crash your bike, it's just baggers don't crash well.
No,
you know, like
the bike's heavy. It's you just don't lay it down.
Yeah, it's not like it just slides. And you change your fairing and whatever. Like these things, like, and you have to spend so much more money. But it's pretty fucking exciting to watch these baggers fucking ride the way they ride.
That's interesting.
Well, it's like in Irwindale, they got that figure eight racing, right? So then they gotta add something to it because in the figure eights, you gotta watch when you come into the through the figure 8 because you just don't want to T-bone each other.
Yeah.
But then they put this fucking trailer on the back and they put this motherfucker in this car. So now you got to tie. I mean, it's like, come on, man. I mean,
take a break. You know, like, yeah.
You know, like that's hard enough, let alone just
why complicate
let's
it?
just add some shit to it. Yeah. Fuck it. Let's just bring my moonshine down there. I'll drink it all. And
everybody finishes a jar and then they jump in there.
Yeah. The Crash Up Derby would be 10 times better. Yeah.
I used to watch Street Outlaws a lot, and they did. I don't know if you ever watched that show. They did one, made me laugh my ass off. They all pitched in and bought a car, and they swapped the steering lines. So if you turned left, it turned right.
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
And they had to go through a course.
Yeah,
I think it was blindfolded too, or something like that. I can't remember. It was fucking hilarious. They're like, and the passenger co-driver's telling them like, "Oh man, you gotta, all right." So the first couple of them just destroyed shit. They were running over cones and that and this because they were like, well, you're going to go left, but then, well, if you go left, you're turning right. So then they started trying to, it was hilarious.
What a fucking trip, man. Like
some shit to pass time.
When you complicate shit like that, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like right is left and left is right. Like what the fuck is the point?
You know there was drinking involved in some part of that. So you can 100%. actually see these people are going to watch this video and they're going to go, look, man, they actually knew what they were talking about. And then they went, look what happened. You know, you can see the whole process, but yeah, craziness.
Yeah. So what's next for you guys? You guys shoot guns. You guys make alcohol. You guys live the American dream in California, one of the greatest states in the world, even though it's fucking crazy right now. What's next for you guys? What's the goals? What's the and actually one more thing I'm going to add in. Happy Father's Day. Father's Day's coming up.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you, same to you.
Thank you very much. But what's next? What are you guys' goals in life?
So I don't know if I showed you the picture of the new beast I just bought, the 40-foot pusher, diesel pusher motorhome.
Okay, yeah.
So I just got...
You didn't show me, but I saw it when we were outside your house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Joe came out, helped me hook up all the blue ox, to tow the Jeep and everything behind it, taking off the Paso Robles next weekend.
Beautiful.
Wine tasting. So it's I call it early retirement seminars. So I'm practicing my retirement as much as possible.
Yeah.
So the golfing and the motorhome, going on trips. I mean, I just can't wait to where I go somewhere and I said, you know what, I want to stay here 3 more weeks. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to be able to do that and just relax. I love I've been in motorhomes and toy haulers and stuff my whole life. This is my 3rd motorhome, two toy haulers. So it's something I really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be loaded with guns. It's not the motorhome you want to come into, and moonshine wherever I go. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was teasing him to make a little mobile steel system for one of the pull-out things on the side.
On the side, yeah.
Still
why not?
pulls out of the bottom. I'm
why
cooking.
Not? Yeah, why not?
Well, I'll be fully loaded. Trust me. Wherever I go, I'll have cases because it's like anywhere. You know, like when I first started making moonshine, I would take a couple jars with me. Like I, messed up today. I should have brought extra, but I take like cases with me now because every time I went somewhere, everybody's like, I want it. And it would just be gone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just everywhere I go now, I take overabundance. The only time I've never not took, like when we went to the tasting, I think everybody didn't realize that you could buy it or whatever and stuff like that. It was just part of the persona of the thing they bought into. Afterwards, they're like, okay, I think if I did it again and the same guys come, they were like, yeah, I want to get some of that.
Yeah, I bought that day because I had done it already. You were already on the podcast. I was already expecting it. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking have a little budget.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. To be able to have time just to be at home.
And this is not a business. This is a hobby that you have created and you want to share with people.
Yeah, because I like to drink it, obviously. And this other stuff has just been experiments that have expanded from basically what I want is this. And I enjoy drinking it. I enjoy having other people drink it, enjoy it with me. And
does this sound ridiculous? Because I'm feeling great, obviously because you're drinking. But would you compare making your own alcohol like cooking your own food?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't like eating out. I like what I cook, and this is so much better. Would that be a fair comparison?
Absolutely. And it's the same thing. When I'm cooking, I'm tasting it.
Right.
So
and you're modifying it and you're adjusting. Yeah.
Well, my wife will say, "Oh, you're coming in all sassy. You've been cooking, huh?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I'm tasting it, and then I'm tasting my barrels.
You're all sassy.
And then I'm tasting my barrels. I'm like, oh, this barrel's coming out really good. How's this one taste? Then I'm tasting this one, and then I'm tasting it because as you cook, it changes. It goes from 160 to 150 to 140 to 130. Yeah. And I mean, you can, the first one I'll taste it, my lips are numb. You know what I mean? It's like when you hit your funny bone. It's like, but it's like, oh, that's good.
I like the way that I'll call him sometimes. I can tell he's been cooking.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So.
But people get addicted to certain things. This is way off left field, but it's even with cocaine. What are they finding right now in fentanyl? They're finding fentanyl in cocaine now, and you're looking at the studies, and it's people want fentanyl. People want that high. There's people that have done it so long that they're like, I want this fentanyl because it gets me to another level.
That's a different. I don't. Yeah,
I know. I don't comprehend
people,
it.
But that's a different high. I did not know that. Yes. I thought it was just a filler.
No. So originally my understanding was it is a filler, and once you get the product from Colombia to Mexico, that it's a filler. But now my understanding is there's people that like the high of fentanyl and they request it with a certain amount of fentanyl because it's a different high.
So can you just take fentanyl or does it just kill you?
I mean, it's like...
I really don't know.
I forget.
My understanding is fentanyl kills you.
It's the smallest little thing, like even touching it can just...
Wow.
I forget the size of it. It's like even you can picture like a tip of a pencil is almost too much. It can kill you.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's got to be. I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's just the new thing that I heard was
it's killing
there
people.
Is people that want it. Yeah, and the crazy part is it is killing people. It's killing like there's people from the Comedy Store or comedians. They just want regular cocaine. And then they get the stuff with fentanyl. I don't know if it's because it has fentanyl or it has too much fentanyl.
Well, probably because it's not done like in a lab. It's just done in somebody's house, and they don't know exactly how much they're putting in there.
And I've had this conversation many times. Making drugs illegal doesn't stop people from doing drugs. The only thing you're creating is zero control of how these people are getting their drugs. And when you get zero control of that, that's where you run into problems of overdose and issues.
Well, I mean,
it's like the weed. Like if you remember our times when we wanted weed, we had to call 4 or 5 friends. Yeah. And they knew somebody, and we had to meet somebody in an alley. We didn't know what the fuck we were getting. We had no idea if it was an up or a downer. Yeah. It was covered in stems. It had a shitload of seeds. When you lit it up, it popped.
Well, back then, there was no uppers or downers.
It was just stems and seeds that would pop, and that's it. And now, look, it's legal, and you get to see your flavors. You get to see your THC levels. You get to see it's a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame.
Like the podcast we were talking about yesterday with Colion Noir, with Joe Rogan.
Who's Joe Rogan?
They go over a few things, but they were talking about it's funny. They were talking about they were talking about the fentanyl and this and that. And the problem is
I didn't get to that part, but yeah.
If you look at it, the market's oversaturated because it's illegal and they just cut it up with everything. But like if you look at weed now in like California, like it has to meet a specific standard. They can't I have a buddy who used to grow to sell at dispensaries, but he started not being able to sell his stuff because he didn't have all this stuff lined up, and the quality's got to be just this top-notch stuff because it is technically legal here. Federally not, right. But statewise it is. But
it's California. They regulate every damn thing. So now it has to be. I mean, it could be the top shit, but you haven't had it.
Right.
Regulated.
Right.
To pay for this or that.
Right. It's back to like organic shit. Like, you have to make certain things organic, but to have the organic stamp, it's only got to be 75% organic. And the only reason it needs to be 75% is organic is because there's no such thing as 100% organic in mass production for the amount of people that are doing. And that's what people don't fucking understand. I don't even think it's 75%. I think it's 70%.
It's even like eggs right now, right? So my wife was all on that keto and diet. She's like, we got to have free-range chicken eggs. So I go into Costco and even Trader Joe's. It's cage free, free range, and something else. I'm like, it's a fucking egg. Yeah. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I get where chicken just weird, but what's the difference between cage free, free range? Are you telling me these chickens are just running around eating whatever they want? Free range? Yeah. Free Willy. Yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah, I'm Thank like, you. Oh my God.
The chickens write a letter.
I can't take
But you know what?
But
a chicken, like you have the space in your property. I used to have a house down the street here in Studio City, and it had one of the biggest lots ever. I was renting it, but it had one of the biggest fucking lots ever. And I had a chicken cage, and I had 6 chickens there, and I'd grab my eggs from my chickens.
Funny you say that. So our dad was born in Canada, and brothers and a sister, and my grandma and grandpa came down from there.
There you go, new info.
Canadian citizens and stuff like that. But
you guys are immigrants.
Yeah.
We all are immigrants.
When we were young, my dad had so when you ask how we were raised, why we shot and did all types of stuff like that. My dad had a chicken coop. I had chickens. He had
rabbits,
cockatiels,
finches, all kinds of stuff.
He raised cockatiels and finches and stuff like that. And he used to hand feed them and sell them to the public, but hand fed ones. They were like super tame. But I remember that was my job. I'd come over on the weekends. I'd be cleaning shit and cleaning out chicken coops and all kinds of stuff like that. It was just trippy stuff. Yeah, my dad's goal.
It was a process. It's a learning.
He always wanted a ranch, man. If you could have let him have goats and put him out in that, he would have loved all that. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was different because I when I got the property, and again, it was just a rental property, but it was a good friend of mine and everything. The person that lived there had the chickens. So I kind of took over from there, and I learned, you had to service it, clean it, grab my eggs, and I was like, and I was weirded out at first. I was like, I'm gonna try one of these eggs, and I was like, holy fuck, it's amazing.
I used to tease my wife that I was gonna get some chickens for our backyard, so I didn't have to mow the grass and everything. Oh. But she goes, well, I'm not eating those eggs, and I'm like, well, you eat eggs from the store, like what the fuck's the difference? She's like, well, it comes out of their butt. And I'm like, where the fuck you think those ones come from?
Yeah.
Just gotta wash the poop off of these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. So what happened to my chickens was interesting. I went back there one time and 2 chickens were missing, and I was like, what's going on?
I know you want some of this.
I go, why are 2 chickens missing? And I go and I look to a corner, and it looked like one of my chickens exploded.
The feathers.
What the fuck's going on, right? And then the other one, I saw the claws fucking somewhere else on the other side of the property. I'm like,
a hawk.
What the fuck is this, right? So then, so 6, I have 4 now. 2 self-combusted, whatever, and
yeah.
Anyways, the time continues. Now my 4 go to 3, and now it goes to 2, and I'm like, what the fuck is taking out? And then on the 3rd or 2nd one, it was so evil. Like I'm saying, like the claws were like one side. We had an empty pool back there. There was a fucking beak on another side. I was like, this is some fucking evil shit. Now I'm getting to like the last one, and I would let them out. Yeah. Now I'm not letting them out. I'm like, there's something attacking them. I go back there one day drunk. I just went to the club, got back, and then I was like, I'm gonna check on my chickens. I walk back there, and I hear this fucking monster, and I'm thinking like chupacabra, fucking,
blood-sucking goat.
Yeah, you hear the chupacabra, the blood-sucking goat from Puerto Rico. What the fuck? Yeah. The military experience.
Coming out with your.
What? So I'm thinking chupacabra, whatever the case is. Anyways, long story short, I hear this fucking noise, and this thing's like crawling backwards, and I flash a light, and it's these fucking eyes. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's just. Its eyes were so bright I couldn't even see the body. Anyways, it was a fucking raccoon.
So you were leaving them out at night?
I would let them out during the day, and at night I'd put them in. Sometimes I wouldn't make it.
You gotta put them in.
But still, there was no roof on the cage.
Oh, they were getting in.
He was going in, and that's where I got freaked out because there was days that for sure I'd lock the place up, and when I got back there was like fucking claws here and a beak there. I'm like. What the fuck can climb into a fucking... And this thing was like 7 foot tall. Yeah, raccoons are fucking evil.
Yeah, they're
Tell you a
ruthless.
story on a raccoon. When we go up mountain lakes, we go fishing and stuff, and there used to be a trash can where they used to clean the fish. And they couldn't figure out, trash can wouldn't be knocked over, but like where they'd put all the fish heads and stuff in, they couldn't figure out how the raccoons were getting in there. So they videotaped them one night. One raccoon would crawl up, the other one would grab its feet, and it would reach in there and throw the heads out.
Wow.
Right? And then it would pull them back, and then it'd sit there and eat the heads. They couldn't figure it out. And they're very smart. And they're not scared.
They're very smart, yeah.
And not scared of anything.
No.
And not only that, but you can think you killed it, and it will play fucking dead. And
like a possum.
Like a possum. Yeah. And then when you come back, like I remember I shot one, I threw it in the garbage. The next day, that fucker wasn't in the garbage. Like, you know, like
the
fucking
13th
crazy.
warrior, and I'd take all their shit with them.
It's funny you say that. I was watching a video, I think, on Instagram the other day, and it was a dog, and it had a little fox, and it looked dead. It was nudging it. I mean, it like wouldn't tense up or nothing. I'm like, he killed it.
Yeah, scored.
The second that dog turned and looked away, and he looked back the other way, boom, it was gone. You were like, holy shit. The guy was videoing the whole thing.
We went camping. There was 4 little girls around this dead squirrel. And it didn't look like he'd been ran over because he was on the side. And I told him, I said, watch it. I said, they'll play dead. Don't mess with him because he'll bite you. And they're like looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm telling you. And I've been drinking too. I'm like, watch it. He'll get you. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like he's ran over to me. So it looks like he's playing dead. Don't fuck with him. He's going to bite you.
Yeah.
They looked at me all crazy.
Yeah, no, people don't believe that shit. It's hard. It's hard to accept. Like.
Yeah, I would have poured some moonshine on him if I had some. I think it would have came back to life.
That would have revived him right away.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll hopefully. I know you got that bike show this month, but no,
and you know, thank you for bringing that up, and that's something that I think people don't realize enough. And you've even accepted that you haven't realized it, that sometimes you just got to show up and go to events and try these things out. And that's so fucking valuable because I showed up to a race car event and I did it. And I was like, I could have done this so long ago and become a race car driver. And then I did the supermoto thing. And I was like, fuck, this is the first time I did it. And it's like, I wish I would have done this in my 20s. Yeah. And then the gun competition, you know, I gave you a million excuses saying like, bro, I don't think I can make it, or I don't think I could do it, and all that. You're like, dude, just show up. You got a PC9, fucking show up, bring your fucking gun. You'll have fun.
Period. Well, that's one of the things we were talking about. There's so many divisions, and
there's so
you
many
don't need
divisions
everything.
that you don't. It's a mind fuck. Even this podcast, I was going to start this podcast in 2012, but I needed a certain cable. And I needed a certain stand, and I needed this mic that looked like this, and I needed this TV, and it was so many fucking excuses that I didn't do it in 2012. I didn't do it in 2013. I did it in 2000. When did COVID start? 1920? 1920. I started 19. I started like 6 months before COVID.
And podcasts where you would have been ahead of the curve. Back
then. If I would have done it in 2012, are you fucking
Joe
kidding?
Rogan who?
Joe who? Joe who?
Rob what?
I literally had a podcast, and I actually recorded 2 episodes and published it. It was called Man Cave Raw. So it was like, you know, Man Cave Raw.
Yeah.
And I had girls like fucking serving drinks with Robert Valderrama, like a TV show. Man Cave Raw with Robert Valderrama. And it was just kind of like similar shit that Right Boundless has turned into. But my point is if you want to do something, just do it. Yeah. Don't overcomplicate it. It's much simpler than what it is. This applies to shooting guns, racing cars, racing motorcycles, or starting a fucking podcast. We have a consistent attitude of, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready for it, I can't do it, nobody will like it. We make all these fucking excuses. And you were saying things earlier that I was like, it's just showing up and doing it. Yeah. It really is just showing up and doing it.
It's not the best time to have a baby right now, but it never is. You know what I mean? So It's funny you say that because I get a lot of feedback from this. They're like, why don't you go start? Why don't you do it? And I mean, it's probably every other IPA brewery or anybody making a spirit. It was the same way. They started out like I did. You know, I got to kick myself in the ass and just say, you know what? I mean, Why not make money for something you like to do?
I don't want to call it demons. I get how complicated it is sometimes. I get like even when you do it just for yourself, it's like I got to do this. Do I really want to do this? I did just go to work all day, and today was a hard day, and I made a lot of fun. Like like you have to even convince yourself to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Let alone to do it at a commercial grade. But it's just like fucking do it, man. Yeah. Actually, that was a conversation I just had with my 13-year-old. My 13-year-old lives in Florida. And he texted me. I mean, he actually just texted me multiple times. I don't want to get all into it, but he wrote to me. He wrote to me, where is it? Anyways, this is too much dead air. But he wrote to me. He's like, Dad, I want you to teach me how to invest. How do I do business? How do I make money? And I was like, fuck that. Don't worry about investing and making money. What do you want to do? Let's start off with what do you want to do? What do you like to do? Like what are you going to invest? You have no money to invest. Yeah. And you have no goal. Let's start off with you're 13 years old. What do you want to do? Okay. You want an investment? Okay, let's find out what you want to do in life. Yeah. Do you want to be an actor? Do you want to invest in yourself? Yeah. Exactly. And that's what it just kept leading to. It was like invest in yourself, do what you want to do. Once you find out what you want to do, do that, and then that will turn into money, and then we'll talk about investing. Okay? But a 13-year-old asking you, what should I invest in, or how do I invest, or how do I make money? It's like, wait, that's not even a conversation you should be even thinking about. It's not. Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
Get through high school, buddy.
Get through high school.
I mean, he likes golfing and stuff, but that same situation. I mean, like, not just being the assistant match director for the 3-gun thing, like, I used to go every month. I usually don't miss a month. But I enjoy it because you get out there. You know, you've been in the range, you've seen phones don't work.
Yeah, perfect.
It's the Bermuda Triangle for cell phone reception. So go out there, the camaraderie with the people, the sport itself. Like, I mean, even if you don't, like, for instance, the division I shoot, I can shoot 4 different guns depending on the situations.
At the same time?
No. I'm kidding. But like I was telling you, you could just show up with your, PC-9 and shoot the entire match with just that one weapon, where I use different ones. But say, you wanted to shoot 3-gun, but you didn't say have a shotgun. Right. Like, and you weren't sure, you were like, hey, I want to get one. Like, everybody there is so friendly and so helpful, and just the community itself is just so great that, I mean, hey, man, mind if I try your gun? Or, I mean, I've shot people's rifles and shotguns, like, literally not just after the stage is done, just to try it. Like, I've literally shot it in the match just to see how I would like it under the pressure of the timer going off and all that stuff. So
the community is very, very tight. So if there's like a gun you want to try, just like, the guys with the bikes. Yeah. Not everybody's all crazy because of bikes, I mean, don't get me wrong, a gun's unsafe, but you don't let anybody ride your bike because you don't know if they're going to go down and then you're screwed.
You have
You know what I mean? So when somebody's riding your $80,000 bike, like those guys were up there, you're like, you really got to kind of know that guy. But, if you've ridden with this guy a lot, and it doesn't mean he still can't go down, but if you're out there, it's a kind of a different story. Like, man, I'm really looking at that gun. I'd like to buy it. And the guys will be like, here, try around with it.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of instances where I've seen a new.
Isn't that interesting? But if you look at if you look at the black and white, you have a weapon of mass destruction, and that's easier to give to somebody to practice shooting versus if you have a motorcycle that's your hobbyist. It's like, it's like, I mean, it's almost like the whole girlfriend thing. It's like weapon of mass destruction. It's like, hey, take the weapon of mass destruction. Leave my fucking.
Yeah. But I've seen guns where it's brand new out, and like, oh man, you got one? They're like, yeah, you mind if I try? Yeah. And you shoot it, and you're like, oh man, it wasn't really for me, or man, I got to get one. So the community's great.
That's community, like, again, kind of, it's a great conversation, but the bike shed. it's a good community. If you look at what's going on, it's a good community. The reason I like it is because I've been riding motorcycles for over 20-something years. And I mean, I'm talking about like hardcore riding, street. I didn't do a lot of dirt bike. I didn't do a lot of that. But if you look at my BMW, my Harley, my Livewire, if you look at the mileage that I've done, it's LA city riding, bumper to bumper traffic, lane splitting mileage. And I have a lot of it. And I've never met people that I can get along with because it's always like you're a wannabe 1%er. It's like you got to wear your fucking vest. Or the BMW people, it's like it's too technical, and it's like, dude, I just like riding.
Yeah.
I just like riding. And Bike Shed has created a community of it's the MC for people that don't want to be in an MC.
Yeah,
like
that's LA hasn't had something like that,
and they haven't had something like that. And I totally dig the fact that of the Bike Shed, and what I'm saying is it's a community. Same thing when we went to that gun range. It didn't matter if it was because we ran into people we ran into family but then we ran into people that you casually knew and that weren't family. And they were just as welcoming. Yeah. And it's that fucking community and that values that you appreciate. Yep. This podcast, this community, that's what this is. This is the only community that I've created where I can look at you and say, turn off your fucking phone. Turn off your fucking phone. There's no phones allowed.
Yeah.
The community of no phones. And we can have an intricate conversation and talk about whatever
just
the
reading
fuck
his son's text.
Oh, wait. What a dick. But that was funny. Good job, Bob. Nice twist at the end. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if I don't, I've had a little knee injury, so I haven't been able to shoot much. But if I don't get to shoot like once a month, it drives me nuts. It's like my thing. So I mean, like I said, when the weather's good, he'll go. But me, I don't like missing it because that's and I got a lot of hobbies. I got too many to be honest, damn it. But like that's the one where it levels me for the month,
Yeah, I ain't sitting at home, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What are the hobbies do you have like that you're just as passionate like it is guns?
Right now that one's kind of the big one, but I'm starting to do a little golfing with him. I haven't been in a few months since my knee, but, we go riding, go to Glamis, dirt. I got a sand rail. I have a boat. We like to go to the river, during the summer, stuff like that. But, I haven't done it in years, but I used to paintball. I mean, I've always had something that I've just.
Paintballing was amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that was something back then, huh?
It's a trip.
Back in the days, that shit was fucking crazy. I used to paintball, and I was really fucking good at it. But I'll never forget, this was in Santa Cruz County. I used to play a team. They were called the Marauders, and they were fucking ex-Vietnam veterans. The highest score that one of them did was 13 kills with only 3 shots. Exactly. I hope everybody's watching this. That's the face that everybody gives. Like, what the fuck? They had this
Matrix paintball or what?
Exactly. That's what everybody's like. What the fuck are you talking about?
Did he have a knife with a paintball on it? He was sticking everybody and shit.
Close. So we all realize whose phone. Who the fuck's phone? Dude.
That ain't mine.
Oh God, fucking Bob. Have you never been on a podcast?
Mine's
God damn
silent.
it!
I didn't know.
Stop
it was
drinking. We all saw it. The fuck is your problem? 3 shots. 13 kills, paintballing. So we all know.
I gotta hear it.
We all know the rule. If you're 3 feet away from somebody, you can't shoot. Once you walk up to somebody, it's
no phase, anything like that. Yeah.
If you can creep up to a person 3 feet in distance, you're done because the paintball's so painful. This guy had 5 or 6 of those.
Oh, so they tapped out. Is what you're saying?
They tapped out.
Came up, tapped them top of their head, and
tapped out. And long story short, other than the 3 shots and 2 of them, he would grab a knife because again, this was a Vietnam vet.
Yeah,
and he would put the back of the blade on the neck and be like, "You're out." That's it. So
never fucking playing with that guy.
No, nobody wanted to play with this guy. The team was called.
Who knew if this guy was gonna snap and it was gonna be the other way around?
This guy, the Marauders. They were ex-Vietnam fucking veterans.
God.
Whatever. That like insane. But 13 kills, 3 shots.
So he was just sneaking up on people.
Just sneaking out. You're out. He would tap the gun on your back.
Goddamn Cochise just running around fucking. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I used to play with these guys, and I'm telling you, man, I
knew something was wrong with you. Yeah.
Yeah. No. This was cheers to the Marauders paintballing. What the fuck are you doing? Well, I'm not gonna. Well, you got an empty cup.
All right. I'm telling you,
dude. If Bob knew this, like, this is unacceptable. Come on. Okay, let's drink this.
Well, we do know this was full when I brought this one, right?
We do know that. That's the rye. Let's end this because we're getting on 2 hours, which is not even a big deal. But let's give some life advice. Let's go by the older brother. Everything in life, everything you've done, your accomplishments, your failures, what would you recommend to your younger generation? Life advice, whatever. Drinking, alcohol,
it's
passions.
It's kind of a tough one. Never stop drinking because you're a quitter. No, I'm just joking. That's like a always one, whatever. But life's too short. I mean, I've been a manager working for the CFLA for a long time, and I've watched a lot of people just work their lives away. Our dad could have retired a lot earlier than he did. Life's too short. You don't know what the next one is. So, I mean, obviously enjoy what you do. Enjoy it to the fullest. And I mean, it doesn't have to be bougie. I mean, sometimes I remember it was just the easiest things in life. I enjoyed, didn't have to cost a lot of money.
The simple things.
Just the simple thing. Man, a 12-pack and a damn old school barbecue with some carne asada on it, man. You could have a great time at a park. It's just, I mean, when you get older, I mean, the stuff, true. But it's just the easy stuff. I mean, just enjoy life. I mean, if you can retire. I got guys I'm working with is 36, 37
Well, it's like we can all retire, but it's like we're convinced to have this other life.
But I mean, what I'm saying is like with us, it's 55 and 30 to retire. These guys are 36, 37 years in, and they have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, man, there's plenty other things in life I mean, you don't have
to make it fair. Everything you said is beautiful. It's very beautiful. And I'm sorry for interrupting, but to make it fair, for yourself, if you can go back 15 years, 20 years, what would you tell your younger self?
Make moonshine? No.
Get rid of my ex-wife earlier.
There's that too. No, seriously, yeah, fuck it. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Like when people divorce, I had somebody on the podcast recently, and she's like, I got divorced. And I was like, congratulations. Because there's nothing bad about a divorce. It's that two people realize they're not happy together, and they're finally deciding to move on. Congratulations. So so that'd be one. Divorce your wife sooner. Don't get married. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No. Then you don't have your kids. You talk about all type of stuff like that. But I mean, my divorce was a little different, to a certain extent. And, well, fuck it. Let's throw it out. She took off with another guy, was pregnant 2 months out of the house. Her marriage lasted a whole year and a half, and wanted to come back 3 years later and say, would you like to try this again?
No.
But you kind of get what I'm saying, though? You build your whole life, and you built your home, you built everything, and where you would be at a certain extent in a whole nother place.
There's a saying that goes, this is my version of it, but it goes, if you love something, you should let it go. If it comes back to you, you shouldn't take it back because nobody wanted it. Yeah. No. Fucking A. But then, like where I'm at right now, I've only been with my wife right now 4 years married. Good Lord, where we could be if that was there, just what we've accomplished now. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? If you could go back, you could live it over. I would definitely start cooking moonshine a lot earlier. I would definitely probably be doing that as a living, stuff like that. I mean, I guess, Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying. If you could talk to your 10, 15, 20-year-old self, what would you recommend?
Yeah. Stuff like that.
It would be make fucking moonshine. It'd be like what you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. Honestly, to the point, no BS aside, I'm really enjoying the shit out of my life right now. So, I mean, where it took me, and those experiences, that's part of your character. That's what makes you you. Yeah. You know, maybe that's what made me and it makes me enjoy things a lot more now and appreciate things a lot more. So, you know, maybe I needed to go through some of those things, and maybe I wouldn't be the same person if I didn't go through that stuff. So, I mean,
100%.
It sounds good to go back to that a little bit, but maybe, you know, maybe that made me the little salty or whatever I got going on that got me to do this. So, but I can say I'm at a point in my life, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I'm meeting people like you right now through the, you know, bike shed, moonshine, guns,
rifles,
and it's just
drinks.
I at this point, I wouldn't change anything. How's that? But back if I could do a couple things different. But right now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
What about you, Joe?
Get to learn a lot from him. Seeing, you know, he's explained some of it.
What's the age difference?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That really is good to know. Yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot.
My oldest and youngest from 2 different marriages is exactly 10 years.
Really?
I'm like, how would they even get along? Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. But you know, see him go through his stuff, and we all go through stuff. But you know, one thing that kind of changed my outlook was when our dad passed. You know, he was always there. Never, you know.
Do you guys speak French?
No,
we weren't the frogs. We weren't the frogs part of.
I had to ask.
No.
Parlez-vous français?
But to put a little more character, not to cut it on him, is my dad worked for the city, I worked for the city, and Joe works for the city. Yeah. So we're 3 generations deep and working for the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah. But I mean, he worked a lot, and it was to provide for us and try to get us the things that he never had and show us a, you know, great life. But, you know, I don't regret anything, but when he passed, I got a different outlook on things. I used to work, I mean, nonstop all the time, just constantly grinding. And I mean, I'm dedicated to work, and I do work, but it's like there's times where it's just, you know, my daughter, I had kids a little later. I turned 43 next Thursday actually.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Gemini.
And
Gemini, right?
No, Cancer. And my little one, she'll be 8 in August, and you know, I just, you know, there's times where, you know, I feel bad that I'm caught up with, you know, work and different things, but there's days that they're like, oh, we really need you to work, and I'm like, I'm out. I haven't seen my kid in almost 3-4 days. Like I'm the weekend's mine. I'm out. You know, there's certain weekends I do, certain weekends I don't.
That's the point where we're saying life's too short.
You have to find that happy medium and not neglect the things that make you happy.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw a social post. I think it was Eddie Murphy, and he was filming in a movie, I think Coming to America 2, and he says, okay, let's pretend you live 100 years. Let's just pretend you live 100 years. That's 100 summers, 100 winters, 100 falls, 100 springs. That's it. The first few don't count.
Don't remember them, yeah.
The last ones don't count. That gives us roughly 40 good summers, winters, springs, and falls.
Yeah.
Most of us are halfway through that.
Yeah.
So that leaves us 15, 20 good summers, springs, and falls. Enjoy your fucking life.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fucking life.
I'm looking at me right now. I'll be 53 in November. I'm looking at, in my mind, as long as my health's good, I got 20 solid in my mind, because I see some other guys I golf with and stuff. I got at least 15 to 20 solid good years that I'm enjoying myself right now. Like life to my fullest extent. I can afford it. I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? I'm at that point.
Yeah.
But think about that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got 20 years right now to really enjoy.
Yeah. Dude, I just turned 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But then you're like, wait a minute. Like when I used to sell cars 20 years ago, the people that I thought were old were just 40. And now they're 60. And I'm like, oh, wait, what the fuck? And now all of a sudden, your mathematical equations and calculations are like, wait, time out. What?
No, because now I'm going to be 53, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, oh, those fucking people are old. I'm like, oh shit, they're 55. I'm like, I'm old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
like,
53. You're like 55, so old. Wait a minute.
Fucking old, senior citizen. You know, like the other
And
day,
that's the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to anybody and anything. You should just enjoy life for what it is. Yeah. But for some reason, there's a pressure that you start comparing, and you're like, wait a minute, like maybe, you know, this, that. Like it's, I was going to say a story, and I'm not going to say it because I caught myself because I didn't drink that much. And I'm going to say cheers to the assholes and to the players and to the people of life. I'm very honored to have you guys here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Joe, we had a great time, Rob.
Absolutely. Joe, thank you for the experience we had on Saturday. Bob, honestly, as a friend, as a bro, cheers.
Connoisseur.
As a connoisseur, cheers. I think that's a wrap. Thank you, guys.